Welcome to the Wandering Tangent Review. This time around, we're going to talk about the, well, I suppose you could call it a sci-fi classic in some sense, the 1968 movie, The Green Slime.
Yes, the green slime.
The green slime.
The stuff that you find in the refrigerator way in the back. There's a movie about that.
Even
the
has
green slime.
A nice groovy little theme song because it's almost the 70s.
Kind of jarring because it didn't. I'm used to my science fiction epics having epic soundtracks, and this one. Anyways,
it definitely has an epic soundtrack.
Yes,
I think it definitely does.
Definitely has an soundtrack.
One of the most soundtrack.
Yes, it is a soundtrack that was made. Yes, definitely.
Sound, it is on a track.
Yes.
It's something you can boogie to.
Oh, maybe one or two songs.
Yes. I have a question, BJ, before we get into our reviews. Should I give this an ironic review or an actual review or or both?
It's your review. You do whatever you want with it.
Just curious, because I'm tempted to give two reviews. I don't know which one you're going to count or which one you're going to record for, posterity's sake, but still,
I mean...
Which one would become official?
Which one would be the official one?
We are already recording, so whatever you say is going in the podcast /review.
Okay.
So... That's a choice you should have made before you said, yes, I'm ready to record.
I just wanted to get this conversation in the... Never mind. Never mind.
How about I do... Okay. How about I do my review, and based on my review, you can choose which one you want to do, or both, or whatever.
You go, BJ.
Okay. So, just a quick reminder to anyone who might be stumbling onto us a little more recently, our score system goes from a -5 to a +5. So if it's a movie we don't like, it'll get a negative score. If it's a movie we like, it'll get a positive score. And then how much we don't like it or how much we do like it will go up and down based on how much we like it. Just so people aren't confused because at some point we are going, well, I guess we did in Star Trek Beyond, where we delved and rate on the same side of positive and negative because Gary had to give something the 0.5 just to annoy me. Maximum annoying score. But anyway.
Yes, and BJ hates scores that have decimal points. But
anyway.
That's neither here nor there. See what it says.
Oh yes.
Anyway.
Before we start recording, we had this grand vision of, oh yes, our review will only last like 10 minutes and blah blah blah, and
we didn't add in all the time wasting.
Two minutes to talk about it. We'll have 4 minutes of fluff, and I'm looking at a record time and granted this counts stuff before we started, but we're already at almost 5 minutes, so there you go. But anyway. My review of The Green Slime. So, I gave The Green Slime a -2. The Green Slime is a disaster of truly international proportions, produced in Japan, starring actors from the West, and ripping off a popular Italian sci-fi series. The Green Slime manages to dodge all the charm of both American and Japanese creature features, and is generally dull and a mostly uninspired film. The thing I found most annoying about the film was the sound, specifically the lack of it in many places where it seemed like there should be some kind of sound effect going. There were many scenes with just a somewhat minimalist soundtrack, and it should be noted we watched the American version, which according to Wikipedia was rescored from the original Japanese version, or vice versa. I got kind of mixed reports on that. Unfortunately, where there is sound, it is often less than great. The biggest offender was, or at least for me, the biggest offender was the noise for the slime. I can't even call it noises, because every time when the creatures was on the screen, you got the same few seconds of screeching looped over and over and over for as long as the monster was on the screen. I also couldn't help but feel that the movie had a bad dub, which was kind of weird since my research led me to believe that the English was the original audio and that it got redubbed in Japanese for that version, but either way, it felt like a bad dub. And sadly, the visual effects weren't much better than the sound effects. There are many miniature shots in this movie, and many of those miniatures aren't very detailed, and it was extremely obvious that they were not very well made. I think even the tanks used in Godzilla movies might have been more convincing than like the space station and rocket ships in this movie. Especially in later scenes when you get outside views of the station, and I can't go in much more detail than that because it'd be a spoiler. The design of the slime isn't that great either. It probably didn't help that the first time we see when the green slime monsters, it's like laying on its back or on its side, and it's flailing its limbs like a child having a tantrum. But even beyond that, the creature costumes were about what you would expect to see from a Monster Week on a show like Power Rangers rather than a motion picture. And then don't even get me started on the handful of green screen shots where it seemed like it was more green than screen. As for the writing and acting, well, you don't really expect a movie like this to be a magnum opus, and it ain't. There is some attempt to characterize the three main characters and imply some sort of history between them, but all told, it just makes them more unlikable than not. And with maybe one or two exceptions, outside of these three characters, everyone else in the film gets about as much character development as your average Star Trek red shirt. I can't even remember any awesomely bad lines, so by and large, the script is totally forgettable. So as you might tell, I found this movie to be pretty disappointing. I have a great love for old creature features, and this movie just, I don't know, it wasn't good, but it didn't go past the bad to the point where it's so bad it's good. So for a movie which should technically be in my wheelhouse, I'm probably never going to watch it again. And then to top it all off, because I do own a copy of this movie, but the last 5 minutes of my DVD were corrupted. So I had to go find the last 5 minutes online to watch it there. So -2, do not recommend.
Okay.
Okay.
That went a bit long, BJ, but we'll yeah.
Well, forgive me.
just no, BJ, you don't have to sugarcoat it. Tell me how you actually feel about this movie.
I barely talked it all in the Wrath of Khan episode. I had to make up for it somewhere.
You have to, yeah, you got to get those emotions out. You have to.
All right. I give this a -1. If I was to say ironically, if I was watching this in an ironic point of view, I would say it's actually a 1. But that's only if I'm being ironic. I want to watch a movie that I know is bad, and I feel like watching a movie, and I just want to make fun of a movie, because this movie has moments that you can make fun of. But it's bad. I kind of agree with BJ, but not to the point where, it's not a -2, it's a -1 for me. And I agree on a lot of the points where it just kind of, the characterization kind of falls flat on a lot of people. And even the main characters, it's kind of, that there's not much build up there either. That you kind of get what they are right from the beginning, and they never change. So, yeah, -1, and don't really recommend it. Even if it's, yeah. So, Jeff?
Yes, so I am going to be very different. I'm going to give it a 3. And yes, I thought it was fantastic. The reason is because whereas BJ sees it as a B movie, and it's a flop, I see the flop went far enough that it went through, poked a hole in the universe and came out the other side. And so bad became good. It inverted itself. It became, instead of what's supposed to be a good movie and turns out to be bad, it is a movie that is really bad, but it's so bad it turns out to be good. So I was entertained. I thought the fact that there was so much backstory that wasn't explained fits in perfectly with the B movie. You don't want to waste time on good writing. You just want the characters to just be, and it accentuates just lazy writing, which in a B movie is good. Then it had all the things that the trailer talked about. The trailer teases you about monsters and tentacles and this big giant red eye and space battles with space suits fighting with lasers against aliens and all that. And the movie itself is a lot slower than the trailer, but that stuff is in there, and they do have scenes with all these fun things. And watching all this monster come out with all of its simple glory to it, and everyone's screaming and running from it. It's good. It has tropes of people going into dark places and the monster coming. All that stuff is in there. So it's the opposite for me. I enjoyed it and thought it was good. And there was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember. But that's it. That's my review. It is definitely something that people should watch.
Okay, well,
that is an opinion.
There are
that's an opinion.
Yes,
well, it's different.
There are going to be words in our long-form discussion, I think, as yes, we made a compact with each other that we would not interrupt each other's reviews, and Jeff decided to test that with me and Gary. I believe I heard Gary gasp or something when Jeff gave that score. So yeah,
that wasn't an interruption. That was a gasp.
That was an
visceral reaction.
It was a reaction. Yes,
it was a visceral reaction.
So yeah, jump over to our long form discussion if you want to listen to the interrogation. I guess wasn't expecting that, but yeah, that's our reviews of the 1968 Green Slime. Very differing opinions here, which I was not expecting. Whoa, well, I can't remember. Were we trying to find the movie that I liked that Jeff didn't, or was it vice versa? Because it was vice versa. I guess we did it.
I think it's the one you were liking and Jeff was hating. That would be a thing.
Okay, I couldn't remember which way it was. Anyway, we'll see you next time for whatever we end up reviewing next time. We worked out the review thing, but not the exit. Still working on that.
How do we stop? How do we stop it? It goes on and on forever.
See you next time, folks.